For a while now, every time a funny comedian makes people laugh, you get social media flooded by individuals who are complaining that these people are punching down. They are punching down, they are being mean, they have jokes that are unacceptable. Their humor should be uplifting, not punching down on people. Yes, instead they should be uplifting, they should be punching up. People absolutely should not be laughing at their jokes because they are offensive. People need to protest them. People need to call them out. People need to cancel them. And well, Ricky Gervais has a new special. And of course, what I just described happened. It was also the same with David Chappelle when he made his specials. And the worst thing is that most people who are complaining haven't even watched the specials, any of the specials really. They're just pissed at something because they were told that this is unacceptable and they need to be pissed, so they are pissed. So much oversensitivity. It's getting tiresome, really. So punching down, punching up, it always boils down to hypocrisy. Because the people who are saying this are always fine when you are punching down on people you don't like. So they are okay with that. They are completely okay with that. I would even go so far to say that they are not just punching down on those people, they are straight up stomping and trampling on those people. It's really an overkill with them. But heavens forbid, one of their sacred cows is the topic of a joke. Then they behave like a war crime just happened. Chappelle and Ricky both have a tendency to go after everyone. Nothing is off limits, as it should be in comedy. And they also don't censor themselves, nor do they ignore obvious double standards, hence why they attract a rather broad audience. If you ask the people who are complaining to elaborate why they hate Ricky Gervais or David Chappelle or anybody similar, it becomes really obvious that they haven't watched anything or at best just a few bits and pieces here. And it's frustrating. It's frustrating because they're objecting something because reasons. If you watch the comedians who punch down, you'd see that they make fun of everybody. Of men, women, feminists, religion, gays, lesbians, white people, black people, Asians, everybody. Nothing is off limits. And people realize that this is entertainment and laugh at it. And it's always the same type of people who get pissed. The people who are considered folk. You know, the people who are offended at everything. At really everything. The people who have a problem with everything. The people who invent a new gender every second week. The people who need to constantly virtue signal to the world that they are valid, special, and most importantly, better than others. Not to mention that they basically started every horrible trend in the last few years, from glorifying obesity, which leads to an early death. I mean, some of those people died before they reached the age of 40. That's not a good thing. Like, nature is telling you that's not a good thing. And it just gets worse from here. Like, you have creepy people who radiate predator energy wanting to talk to the kids. Talk to the kids. Then men taking part in women's sport and wiping the floor with the opposition because biology. Then advocating for sex changes on kids. I mean actual kids. Like 10-year-olds. Or 13-year-olds or something like that. And that thankfully is getting a lot of pushback here in Europe because they found out that not only is this trend ridiculously out of proportions in the last few years, I also found out that it doesn't really help anybody. Yes, actual studies confirm that it's doing way more harm than it does good. And recent events also showed that for some reason these people also support Hamas. Because it's basically chickens voting for KFC. Because those people will be among the first ones to... So, it's hardly a surprise that these people became a topic of current discussions. They are really a pain in the ass if you have to deal with them. So that's the reason why comedians include them in their work. And since these people legit think that words are violent, they react accordingly, with uncontrollable rage, because heaven forbid jokes or criticism of them. I find it funny that Gen Z a few years ago made the Karen meme so popular, yet they fail to see that they outdid the so-called Karens. There are woke comedians, however, that really aren't funny, and the problem isn't the hypocrisy, it's that their jokes reek of spitefulness. They're very preachy. It really doesn't matter who they mock, since the problem is not just double standards but the overall approach. They lack self-reflections of themselves or the people they support, and have this rather childish worldview that they are always the good guys, and everybody they don't like is bad, evil, wrong, misguided. They are completely unable to laugh at themselves because their ego doesn't allow it. The approach doesn't really seem to be about entertaining people either way, because it's like having a session where they hammer their opinions into the audience. They're not here to make people laugh. They try to spread their worldview while robbing their audience of thinking or even deeply understanding the topic that's being talked about. It's like that joke from the Titania McGrath stand-up. You know, Titania is a fictional character satirizing wokeness, and there are really hilarious tweets that are made from that account. And then there's this bit from the comedy special.
Now, I've been led to believe that this is some sort of comedy night, so you're probably expecting me to stand up here telling loads of hate jokes. So that's the kind of thing that goes on here, isn't it? Well, let me be the first one to tell you that when men say women aren't funny, I take that as a compliment, because humour is a patriarchal construct. Ever go and see a comedian if she's a feminist. And actually, I really do admire this new brand of super feminist comedians who are like totally subverting the genre by making sure that it doesn't actually make anyone laugh.
What you saw just now is funny because it's true. But now let's go to another example of people complaining about punching down. Ever heard of Spitting Image? It's a British satirical puppet show which was made in the 80s, and it was such a success that it ran for 18 seasons. Then in 2020 came the reboot, which was basically the same premise, although not that funny, but they made fun of people on both sides, so I will give them credit for that. And that really, really, really upset people. Because they really didn't like it when they made fun of people on the left, especially when they made fun of Greta Thunberg.
You know what they say about men with big carbon footprints?
They have big carbon offsetting schemes?
Nope, they have big cars.
Oh, The Rock! I hope this goes on forever.
Well, this movie franchise seems to.
What you just saw was from Spitting Image, and the reaction online was really ridiculous. People were pissed. People were even pissed before this aired, just when they saw on Twitter that Greta got a Spitting Image puppet. It was game over. Game over for them. So how did Greta react to this? She liked the tweet where the puppet was introduced. Isn't it fun if an autistic girl has more sense for comedy than grown adults? But back to Chappelle and Ricky. Both of them had the first special be really more about broad topics, while the second follow-up special was more about being a social commentary and kind of the feedback to the first special than anything else. It was still funny in both cases. They highlight how people are killjoys these days, and those people hate humor, and both of them do this in a way where they offer good criticism and also make the audience laugh. Chappelle's second special is also dedicated to one of his fans, who is a trans woman, who supported Chappelle, found his jokes about trans people really funny and even defended him, and said fan enraged the online trans activists. So the whole mob got after that person, and there was a lot of abuse online, and sadly that person then later took their life. Yes. That gets really highlighted in the Chappelle special. And this is the reason why people hate him. Chappelle's special highlighted that toxicity, which anyone who has ever had to deal with these people knows very well what I'm talking about. Everybody who saw it can tell there's really nothing hateful and bigoted about what he said. But most people who are upset didn't watch it. With Ricky, the special that premiered a few days ago also highlighted how much these people are against individualism, how the original meaning of woke and the current meaning of woke differ from each other, how Ricky himself said that he is very much the original meaning of woke, but the current meaning of woke is a complete disaster, and how the people who are called woke these days are incredibly spiteful and do not tolerate different views at all, be it opinions or humor. They simply can't deal with something that they cannot approve of. Everything needs to cater to them, and the world doesn't cater to those people, and they absolutely hate it. It really is worth a watch, and so are the previous specials that I mentioned. So, to all the people who think that Ricky is now cancelled or that Dave Chappelle is cancelled, no. Like both specials, all of their specials really are major successes. Even Ricky's last special really has record numbers, so it really doesn't matter if he gets negative reviews from certain people or if online people are pissed. He gets paid. People watch him. His actual audience liked it. You're not part of his actual audience, so of course he doesn't give a shit about it. And this is what makes these people so angry, because they know that they cannot achieve what they want. The world is not going to cancel him. It's not going to cancel him. It doesn't matter how many delusional takes on Twitter you see from people. It's going to be just like with J.K. Rowling. All of their rage at the end didn't hurt her. People maybe cancelled her like that, but at the end of the day, she's still here, she still makes success, and these people absolutely cannot stand that. So no, dear offended people, you will not succeed in cancelling humor. You won't. The only thing you will achieve is that cowards will bend their knee. But this comes at the price of limiting themselves, alienating their own audience, and losing all of their credibility. But at least they won't anger the peanut gallery, which so or so is not part of their audience to begin with. This really reminds me of that drawn together joke. You know, you're not our audience.
No wonder you hate the show! You're everything we make fun of! You're a Jewish, conservative, pro-life, born-again, overweight, Asian, homophobic, lesbian broad who cuts herself!
I have every right to tell people what I think of your show.
Yes! But people should know you're not our audience, asshole!
It's funny how back then the people on the right were the ones who protested and had hissy fits about everything. Remember when, what was that group, the Dixie Chicks or what? Who were completely cancelled actually had their careers really stifled because they dared to criticize Bush, out of all people. Like, that was ridiculous. And these days, it's the left who is doing this. Really, back then the left supported creativity and defended humor, now it's completely against it. Just like the nut jobs on the right. That doesn't mean that the nut jobs on the right are gone. They just kind of lost their power and momentum. But anyway, I'm on team common sense, so I don't support either. I think both of them are crazy, and really people shouldn't be supporting either. So that's from me. Hopefully my voice didn't sound too bad. I have a rather bad cold. Just now, on the last day of January, when this video is recorded, I really got a really bad cold, and tomorrow I'm working. Yes, at my job, I will work on the 1st of January. Isn't it amazing? So, see ya.